because I got asked, what does it feel like to be adopted? And I was so floored by the question and so caught off guard by my own response. I got on the bus and I rode home, and my parents were both at work, but my older brother was there. My brothers are 8 and 10 years older than I am. So I was 9 and my brother was 17, which is not generally known as a real time of wisdom in a young man's life. I get off the bus and I'm sobbing, which is also something that a 17-year-old boy loves to deal with, as a crying girl. And I tell him everything that happened, and he looked at me, and in this rare moment of wisdom, he said, "Let's go shopping." I mean, you can't argue with that. So he took me to the mall, and then he took me to this little drugstore. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Manaway, but there's a little drugstore there called Manaway Station Drug. It's like a train station, and it has a little train car outside. I don't know if it's still there. It's been a few years since I've been there, but they had like the pharmacy is still there. I know that, but they used to have like a soda shop inside, like from the 50s. I'm not from the 50s, but like you could see from the 50s. And they had ice cream there, and there was a cute girl working the counter, so I'm pretty sure that's why we ended up there. So he took me, and we went shopping. Not that we bought anything, we had no money, but he did take me for ice cream. He never mentioned the conversation the whole time until we pulled back in our driveway at the very end, and he put his little pickup truck in park, and he looked at me and said, "You know, next time somebody asks you that, you just tell them, it feels a lot like cold Jell-O in the morning." And I said, "What?" And he said, "Well, yeah, you ask a stupid question, you get a stupid answer." If any of you know my brother, don't tell him I tell that story, because it makes him look too good. Big brothers should not look that good. So his point, obviously, was not that it was a stupid question. But his point was, for me, being adopted was like having brown hair. If somebody asked me, what does it feel like to have brown hair? What does it feel like to be left-handed? I'd say, "What? I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean? What does it feel like to not have brown hair? I don't know. It's just part of who I am." I recognize that's not always the case, right? My parents brought me home at 72 hours old. I didn't know anything else. That's not always the situation in adoptions. It wasn't an unfair question. It wasn't a mean question. The poor boy just really wanted to understand. I just didn't have an answer for it. Being adopted was just me. It was part of me. My parents, not fully realizing exactly what they were doing, they used this adoption to help tell the story of God's love. My whole life I have known that God was leading me on this journey of identity, of telling, that's the part of himself that he wants to tell with my journey, whether it's through adoption, having a child with special needs. I mean, there's so many things all along the way. And this adoption is such a picture of God's love for us.